What's going on, everybody? It's HBCU Game Day. Hope you're enjoying that weekend. Whenever things happen in the SWAC, you know I have to call in the Dean of the SWAC. Joining us now from Houston, Texas, he is Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. All right, Doc, so it's Friday morning, man. I'm cutting the grass. I'm trying to get a little workout in, and the phone's ding, ding, ding. And I see that the Southern University President Dr. Belton is announcing that he is going to retire after the end of this upcoming year. So I'm like, hey, big change in the air at Southern. And then the team is starting to put together the pieces that there's a lot of things happening over at Bethune-Cookman, that staff over in athletics is getting flipped over like an omelet with the arrival of Reggie Theus. So I'm like, man, we haven't even made it to media day, and the news is popping off. So let's start there with Southern University. Doc, you've been covering the SWAC. You've been a part of it for a long time. Take us to task. Take us to school here. A little summer school here late in the semester. When you have a change in the presidency, and specifically at an HBCU level, how much and how quickly can that trickle down to the athletic department?
It can trickle down pretty fast, particularly to the athletic department. Presidents can come in and do a reorg. Obviously, we're focusing on Southern University and Dr. Belton, but as you heard, this is going to be about the third presidency over the short period of time that we've heard was a change. Early in the year, we heard about Dr. Ugini at Alabama A&M, that he is similar after this academic year, that he will be retiring as well. July 1st was a big day for the SWAC in terms of the athletic side, as you know, in terms of Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman coming into the conference. A lot of people didn't realize that on July 1st, also the president, Dr. Crumpton Young at Texas Southern University, was on her first day of the job, if you would. And in that case, just to give an example back to your question, she has a reorg of the organization. And athletics in the previous administration was on the president's cabinet, if you would, his leadership team or her leadership team. And in this case, it's one step down. It doesn't mean that he still will not have a direct line to them in some cases, but at least into the org chart, it now comes under what we call the executive vice president and chief operating officer, Ken Hewitt, who was the former acting president in this case. So a reorg of the organization is one example of how fast it can come to athletics. The second thing that we may want to consider is, what does that mean for a budget? A new president may want to see a different type of budget for athletics. It could be more beneficial, or obviously it can be the opposite of that and could be in a negative direction.
And we've seen in the SWAC before that the Council of Presidents, they wield a lot of power. Look, we had the SWAC championship game go away and then come right back. But things that they decide and talk about in these rooms that no one else is in impacts our entertainment and the things that we enjoy, the things we might see and might not see, depending on decisions that they make, right?
Absolutely. That's a great example of changing of a game that literally was going to go away, in less than a couple of months later, a new change of the commissioner, and we saw it differently. Different things were brought to the table. A lot of people pushed in regards to their excitement of having the game back, and they brought it back, but it changed. Instead of being at a central location, that it went back to the campus, home campus location. So that's an example. We can go out of the SWAC to some degree, and we've seen this just take place in the MEAC, where the South Carolina State president was dismissed immediately. Well, it changed because he was just announced as the leader of their president CEO council, right? And that created a domino effect where the vice chair became the chair and the second vice chair became the vice chair. So you see those type of things that move quite rapidly, and different people, as you know this, in leadership position can go in various directions of how they would like to see the organization go. And so depending on the power structure of that individual, how much power do they have with the board? What does that look like? Is the board providing true autonomy to the president in such a way that they have the full ability to really go into any direction? Or will you have a board that may be a little more in terms of the governance structure about that directions they want to see the institution go, can change the framework and how it all comes back to athletics in so many different ways.
So let's go back to Southern University. They will have a new president after the end of this year. We all know that the president comes in and he might want to choose his own athletic director. And that athletic director, if that's the case, a lot of times would like to choose his own coaches. Where do you see, some of the big programs at Southern right now and how they fit into the power structure of the SWAC? And is that solid ground, or there might be some people potentially maybe a little nervous or looking over their shoulder today?
I think, to be very blunt and honest with you, in that position as athletic director, VP of athletics, coaches, they should always be nervous when new people come into the fold. And that's because new people tend to want to have their own individuals that they're comfortable with. They're coming from a place in an organization where they had great relationships, and they usually have a long tree. So they've developed relationship with people along the way. So oftentimes they want to bring those individuals with them because they're very comfortable in terms of what they believe they can get done. The caveat that we have to think about here is one of the reasons that athletic directors, VPs of athletics, as many of them are called now, as well as coaches, have contracts. So you're always trying to get to your next contract. So one thing that we would want to explore is, where is the athletic director, VP of athletics, and or subsequently the coaches? Where are they with their contracts? For example, it's our understanding that VP of athletics at Southern University just signed a contract extension and a raise in many ways. So I would say for the most part, he's probably pretty safe because of the contract extensions. And most presidents are not going to come in and cancel out a contract because you have to pay for it. And so, as you talked about, it could be a he or she. How do they feel about athletics in terms of that? Most of them are supportive of athletics, but what does that really mean in support? Does that mean I'm going to leave you autonomous and leave you alone and let you continue to do? All of them are going to do some type of evaluation. So you need to get ready for your reports, because you're going to need to give an update in terms of what you have in terms of the organization. What are you doing well? Maybe what are you not doing well? Some people talk about doing a SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats that they may ask in terms of what does your organization look for. Some will come in with the disposition that they really feel that athletics is the proverbial window to the university or the front porch, right? And so they might ask you, what are your needs assessment? So you need to be prepared for that. That could be a great opportunity, but you need to be ready and quick, because you do not want to be slow with these opportunities. Because like in many organizations, when you first come into the organization, that is your greatest power of strength in regards to really set the course of the university. After a period of time, the excitement of a new individual comes in, obviously wears off. And then you have those individuals that are pushing in various directions, and it can become much more challenging in terms of leading the organization in the direction you want to go.
And it should be noted as people, kind of think about these things and connect the dots, and you talk about contracts. Southern University just made a change, or they were forced to make a change after Dawson Odoms got out of town and headed down to Norfolk State. Now they have an interim coach there, basically on a 1-year kind of flyer to see how things go there. So that could potentially align with maybe more shakeups in the football program, but that's so far in the future. Who knows? They may have a gem, a diamond in the rough with the coaching staff now. So that's something that only Madam, what is it? Was it Madam Cleo? Yeah. Only Madam Cleo has the answers there. So we will wait and see. But Doc Bethune-Cookman is joining the party. They've been here since July 1 now, along with FAMU, and this is just my opinion here. To me, when people talk about, hey, guess who's coming to the SWAC? It's always FAMU, then Bethune-Cookman. I feel like they're kind of in that shadow of the Rattlers a little bit, but a big change. Bringing in Reggie Theus as the athletic director, Lynn Thompson retiring. We're starting to hear that there's even more change in that support system there at Bethune-Cookman. I won't say it'll be a challenge, but it'll take some. It's going to take some heavy lifting to jump into the SWAC and not just be in the SWAC, but be impactful coming into the SWAC.
Certainly. I mean, you have Lynn Thompson. Many people would argue that he was one of the best in the business in general, specifically for HBCUs and certainly in the MEAC. So just the fact that you're filling those shoes is going to be a challenge about how people felt about Lynn Thompson. No matter in terms of what you're able to achieve, you're still filling the gap for a legend in many different ways. So that's one hurdle that he has to get over. The second one is that this makes it more interesting. And like anything, there's going to be some positives and negatives with this, is that it is an entire change in terms of the operational platform moving into the Southwestern Athletic Conference versus what you were used to in the MEAC. A lot of similarities in some fashions, HBCU conference, how you feel about your band moving around, but what does that look like? And because of the gap that was taking place there, I think that's one of the reasons you hear more about FAMU. They seem to be all in from all different parties in regards to coming into the SWAC. And to some degree, Bethune-Cookman came in afterwards and thought it was the best decision at the time. And you don't really necessarily see a organizational wide framework about them being on top of this and moving in the conference. Some of that is just about the change that's taking place. The new president will be coming into the fold. There was a change there, obviously the VP of athletics. And in this case, in terms of Reggie Theus, is that he will be acting as the men's basketball coach as well as the athletic director. That's very interesting. We don't see that much at the Division I level anymore. So what does that really mean for the organization? Can he get it done? He has a lot of experience in various facets in terms of him being able to bring some things to the table. But that's going to be a challenge into the self, because this is a newness. This is different in terms of how you operate a athletic organization with the NCAA. And be mindful of this. While he may have the skill sets associated with being a coach before, being in organizations, NBA, so he has a plethora of opportunities to show that, if you would. But this is also in the changing landscape of the NCAA. Last time we spoke, we talked about NIL. And what does that mean in terms of the name, images, and likenesses? The NCAA is changing its framework in terms of how it wants to move forward. So you add that to it from somebody that hasn't been in athletics recently, that makes it even more intriguing. So this is what I would say about this hire. It is a great opportunity for him to really lay the course of where Bethune-Cookman University will go over the next decade.
Yep, and we will get more from all of our schools and administrators, and a lot to talk about next week at the SWAC Media Day, so looking forward to that. Doc, man, they got the party started this weekend. A lot going on. Glad
no doubt about it. SWAC knows how to do it, and it seems like it is SWAC all the time, all day. Jackson State, FAMU, the rest of the SWAC between Southern and Prairie View, Texas Southern, presidents changing, athletic directors changing, head coaches, interim, men's, women's basketball, a lot of changing, a lot of things going on. So SWAC is the place to be right now. And you head in, like you said, on Tuesday. I can't wait to be there. It should be excitement in the air.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hope they ordered a little more for the buffet. I think we're going to see some new faces this week. Hey, Doc, thanks a lot for spending some time with us, man. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and we'll see you in Birmingham at SWAC Media Day.
You do the same. Thank you.